Hey there, today we'll be talking about my 3 favorite Espadin Mezcals that I got to try in the year 2021. I'm going to break it down into 3 different categories. We get 1 in the budget, 1 in mid-range, and 1 top shelf. So anyway, let's go. All right, first, those new to Mezcal might be asking, what the heck is Espadin? Well, officially it's called Agave angustifolia, and it's the workhorse plant of the Mezcal world. Basically, what blue Weber agave is to tequila, Espadin is to Mezcal. So why is this? Well, there's a few things here. First off, Espadin can reach maturity in about 6 to 8 years, so it has a relatively short life cycle compared to other agaves that can take up to 20 to 30. And second, Espadin has higher sugar content, which leads to higher eventual alcohol yield on the back end when it's finished. And number 3, Espadin is very adaptable to growing conditions, whereas other agaves can be particular to very specific environments. Here's one of my first visits to an Espadin field in Oaxaca, and I'm trying to explain how the flowered quiote has been cut off, and things get a little stabby. See the flowers, the quiote that's come up from the plants, and let's see. Right there where the quiote has been chopped off. And I just stabbed myself in the back with one of these swords. Not pleasant. I'm an agave field liability. All right, back to the Mezcal, and first off, in the budget category, or I like to refer it to as the high value option, we have Animas Espadin. I bought this bottle online at Tahona Mercado. A great place to get agave spirits for $36. And I've seen it other places online for around $40. The mezcalero for this Animas Espadin is Luis Angeles Reyes. It's made in Matatlan, Oaxaca. This is a Tahona stone grind, fermented in wood, distilled in copper to 44% alcohol by volume. My experience tasting this, I ended up getting grapefruit citrus and grass aromas on the nose. Flavor-wise, I picked up orange zest, more grass, and some woodiness, like fresh cut oak, and a great viscosity. All in all, I love how the flavors balance out here. So super tasty mezcal here, high value. The only problem is that when I drink Animas mezcal, I get that Def Leppard song stuck in my head. What's the name of the album? It's like it's almost enough to drive a guy to hysteria. Okay, no more bad jokes, I promise. All right, here is the mid-range, absolute classic Del Maguey Chichicapa. The mezcalero for Del Maguey Chichicapa is Faustino Garcia Vasquez, made in San Baltazar Chichicapa, distilled in copper to 48% ABV. Now, some people will hate on Del Maguey because it's the biggest mezcal brand out there, but that also means it's very abundant. You can buy it in a lot of places. A lot of bars, a lot of restaurants have this on hand, and I love the flavors. But don't confuse this with Del Maguey Vida. That is their lower end cocktail mixing mezcal. This one, far, far better in sipping quality. All right, a quick rundown of what I typically get for flavors here. On the nose, a red apple fruitiness, and then a nice, smooth smokiness to it. Flavors I get on the palate here, fruitiness again, but this time a bit more tropical. And a note that I always found interesting was chocolate espresso bean. The finish for me, nice cigar wrapper, great stuff. And like I said before, you can find this in a lot of places. I've seen the price range from $65 to about $75. All right, so I've already established, I think this is a tasty mezcal. But what I admire about this is its consistency. And with mezcal in general, from batch to batch, there's going to be that variability, and that's the beauty of it. But there's something to be said about consistency. And with Chichicapa, I've tried about 4 or 5 batches, and every time, straight down the line, consistent. I know what I'm getting. I can reach into the cabinet, pour myself one, and it's spot on every time. So a lot to be said for that, and one of the reasons why I think this is a good go-to. Now time for the super premium fuel. And we have, for the top shelf option, Lalocura Espadin. Lalocura is made by one of my favorite mezcaleros, Eduardo Lalo Angeles. It's made in Santa Catarina, Minas, mashed with mallets, wood fermented with natural airborne yeast, and here's the big one, double distilled in clay pots. And it's 50% alcohol by volume. And with this fantastic mezcal, I typically get aromas of a fruity bubblegum and brown sugar. Flavors for me on the palate sounds crazy, but I get all the good aspects of an ice cream sundae. So we have, say, a nice light whipped cream, fruitiness like a cherry on top, a milk chocolate, and a nuttiness like sprinkled walnuts on top as well. And in the finish, you have a nice soft clay that kind of brings it all together. And the smokiness is a bit ashy, kind of like an oak wood campfire ember. It all comes together. This stuff is one of the best by one of the best mezcaleros, hands down. I think this is the first clay pot distilled bottle of Espadin that I ever bought. And it ran me back about 130, 140 bucks, but I have zero regrets splurging on this. So damn good. So in my overall mezcal journey, I started at the bottom in the budget range, cocktail mixing type Espadin mezcals. But then I took a massive leap forward when I started trying other agave, other maguey, and mentally I sort of left Espadin in the dust. And sometimes when you start anything, the rookie has to take the advice of a veteran. And the first time I was in Oaxaca, I ended up meeting a good friend of mine now and mezcal colleague, Craig Thompson. And I alluded to the fact that maybe I wasn't keen on Espadin anymore. And he was like, what are you talking about? Like, there's such a long tail of so-so Espadins out in the market where if you find a mezcalero that can make magic with Espadin, that is truly special. And you probably know that everything else the guy makes is probably going to be top quality too. So anyway, solid advice. All right, time to wrap things up. If you have a favorite Espadin, leave a comment below. Love hearing what resonates with other people. But to summarize, in the budget category, we have Animas Espadin, mid-range, the classic Del Maguey Chichicapa, and then top shelf, top of its class, Lalocura, the clay pot distilled Espadin. As always, you get value out of this. Tap the subscribe button, and I am going to sign off with an Animas. Salud. So on that note, see you next time, guys. Thank you very much. Salud.